brought to you by Northwest Tire. Northwest Tire keeps you rolling down the road.
Thank you so much for watching KX News at 10. I am Chief Meteorologist Kenny Miller, and we're looking live here at Williston. Nice to see some raindrops there on the camera. Still sitting at 50 degrees. Dew points have increased here over the last handful of hours, up to 42 degrees there with that dew point. Across the board, most of us are sitting in those 40s and 50s at this point in time. There we go. A 60 still out towards Wolf Point. Plenty of rain there on the radar. Details on this and some more fire concerns ahead right now on KX News at 10.
Coming up on KX News at 10, dozens who escaped a massive apartment fire are still without their personal items. We sit down with displaced residents relying on shelters and volunteers to get by. And it's a program to invest money in America's children. Congresswoman Julie Fedorchak is inviting parents to an event to learn more about Trump accounts. Plus, gas prices just jumped again, and drivers are now paying about $1 more per gallon than in March. Why tensions over the Strait of Hormuz are hitting your wallet at the pump.
Putting North Dakota first. KX News at 10 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kiara Brown. Thank you for watching KX News. Leading local tonight in our top story, the Alberta Heights apartment complex fire that occurred a few days ago has left many residents to wonder what's next. All residents were able to evacuate safely, and many have moved to other homes, apartments, and hotels temporarily. Many residents say that at the apartment, fire alarms had gone off many times before in the building, which is why they didn't take the fire alarm seriously at first. But the situation quickly turned chaotic. One resident, Sydney Snyder, was at work when the situation happened, but drove straight to the scene.
I was just talking to my coworkers and having a snack because it was Teacher Appreciation Day. So I was actually in pretty good mood. And then my mom, out of nowhere, I wasn't even expecting her to come in the building. She was like, "Sydney, your apartment's on fire." And I'm like, "What?" And I thought it was a false alarm because we've had many false alarms there before. But driving up to the building, it was very clear that it was not a false alarm.
The Red Cross of Western North Dakota says they are working with Burley Public Health to continue to help anyone who lost essential items and is in need of medical supplies. And people in charge of the ND Lions emergency relief now say they're still trying to contact many of those tenants impacted by the fire. Today, volunteers were once again offering donated goods to families in need. They're also offering support to people who are looking for a room for the night in future housing. Many tenants are waiting for their security deposits and May's rent money to be refunded. But today, residents tell us that Metro Plains management supervisors told them to clean out their garages and turn in their keys next week.
If someone has a bunch of, even the small storage units, 10 by 10 storage unit that they're willing to donate or reduce significantly the cost for, say, 30 days while people find their places. This way they can start gathering over time. They're not feeling quite as stressed.
If you're a tenant living in Alberta Heights apartments, you're encouraged to check in with volunteers at ND Lions Emergency Relief. They're set up at Storage Kings behind Memory Fireworks north of Bismarck. This week, the price of gas and diesel increased again in our state. The price of unleaded at most gas stations around Bismarck and Mandan has leveled off at $4.29 a gallon. The price of diesel is now around $5.20. Drivers are paying about $1 more per gallon compared to the second week in March. This comes as the Strait of Hormuz remains closed while the U.S. tries to reach a peace deal with Iran. But Ron Ness from the North Dakota Petroleum Council says this hasn't quite hit the all-time highs drivers were paying in 2022.
Everything tightens down a little bit. It just gets a little harder to get a refined gallon of gasoline to the pump. And I suspect that's what we're seeing right now. And hopefully, despite some crazy increase in crude oil prices again, we as consumers will see that decline hopefully shortly after the Memorial Day season. But, 20 million barrels a day out of the Strait of Hormuz, it was going to catch up with us sooner or later.
Drivers in Bismarck were paying a record high of $4.85 a gallon in June of 2022, while the price of diesel that month jumped to $5.75. Senator John Hoeven says a new multi-million-dollar investment will mean more oil production in North Dakota. Senator Hoeven says North Dakota is receiving $36 million from the Department of Energy for what's known as Crack the Code 2.0. The idea will use carbon dioxide from North Dakota's coal plants for enhanced oil recovery by pumping the gas below the ground to make it easier to pump oil. Senator Hoeven says this will be phase one of what will be a $157 million effort.
We're only producing about 10 to 12% of the oil out of that shale. That's all we're getting. But with EOR, advanced oil recovery techniques, right? We can double that. We can take it from 10 to 12% up to 25% or better.
Nobody else in the world has figured how to get the next 15% out of a shale play. We're better at that in North Dakota, I think, than anyone. We work together with the industry, with our great technology partners.
Hoeven says 4 companies have also invested $76 million into the effort, including Continental, Devon, Cobra, and Cord Energy. Right now, parents are being encouraged to sign their babies up for savings accounts set up by President Donald Trump. And North Dakota Congresswoman Julie Fedorchak is inviting parents to attend Trump account sign-up events to find out more about how the program actually works. The first one is happening on Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning in Bismarck. Fedorchak's office says it'll be limited to 50 people, so you're encouraged to sign up ahead of time. Every child born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028 will receive a $1,000 contribution to the account. To sign up, just follow a link inside the story over on our website. For nearly 9 years, Minot hasn't had a cosmetology school, forcing aspiring stylists to leave town to earn their licenses. Now, beauty students once again have the chance to train and get licensed right here at home. The Union National Institute of Salon Sciences held their grand opening in downtown Minot today. The Institute currently offers a cosmetology program and an aesthetics program. They officially started class on April 7th with 9 cosmetology and 4 aesthetics students enrolled. The school includes dedicated theory classrooms where students complete their required instructional hours, as well as a clinic floor for hands-on training. Miranda Nicole, the co-founder, says the Institute is helping keep the next generation of beauty professionals in Minot.
Hopefully we can have the industry thriving in the area a little bit more after we get a couple sessions, finished up here and get licensed. But for students that want to come here, all the teachers are really invested in their success. We're just really wanting to inspire the next generation of professionals.
Nichols says they're planning to add an advanced aesthetics license program, a nail tech program, and continuing education courses. Beginning in June, students are offering hair, nail, and skin services to the public at reduced prices. This year's deer season is now set. There will be 39,100 licenses available to hunters, down 3,200 from last year, the lowest total in more than 50 years. The statewide deer herd is continuing to recover from the effects of the 2022-23 winter and the EHD outbreaks. North Dakota's 2026 deer gun season opens November 6th and ends on November 22nd. The deadline to apply for a license is midnight on June 3rd. Coming up next on KX News at 10, as negotiations between the U.S. and Iran continue, both sides are battling in the Strait. The latest on peace talks coming up. And an Oklahoma high school principal is being recognized for his heroic actions for stopping a gunman. He tells us why he made the decision later in the show. Plus, it's starting to feel more like May. Finally, Kenny tells us about some warmer days ahead in your full forecast.
First Western, you can bank on us. For local weather with the KX News Storm Team.
Welcome back to KX News at 10, and happy Friday to everyone out there. Seeing some nice rain showers here this evening, perhaps a bit more than even I thought we would get as far as this evening is concerned. Most of us still sitting near 50 degrees, even a 60 burger still persisting here towards Bismarck, and the wind's kind of all over the place in terms of direction and wind speed across the board. Love seeing that green there on the radar. Some rain showers filtering in, coming in from the north. Some of these actually are towards the west here of Highway 83. Also some rain back towards the east. Looking now kind of between Minot back towards Mandaree. Some decent rain shower activity through Ryder, Partial, Newtown. Not really expected this far west, but good news for those of you that are that far west. A bit further towards the eastern tier, most of the light showers now towards the south here of Harvey, heading towards Goodrich, further towards the south. Also some rain towards Gackle, down towards Napoleon, back towards Jamestown. Kind of cut off a little bit here as some light rain back towards New Salem. Not much there for you, unfortunately, towards Salem-Sue's neck of the woods. But all in all, we'll take what we can get here. This won't really make a big difference in terms of the developing dryness or the drought out towards the far west, but we'll take what we can get here as we go through tonight. Overall, the wind's kind of swirling in from the north as a cold front is pushing on through. It's pretty much sitting, as you would expect, right about there as you have that change in direction coming in from the west, more out of the south, and of course here out of the north, still sitting at about 5 to 10 or 15 miles an hour. We'll see the winds increase to about 15 to 30 once again as we get into tomorrow. But as far as right now is concerned, 40s here to the north post cold front, still seeing those 50s and 60s further along towards the south. And there's current soil temps, most of us now in the 50s, so great news there. Botano, not quite there to 40, but improving here as we head into the weekend and of course into next week. Here are tomorrow's forecast highs. Low 60s for a lot of us, mid 60s kind of here or there, and 50s still persisting back towards the east. We'll be a few degrees warmer than this by the time we get into Sunday, and then 70s and 80s building in, as we'll see, for most of next week. Looking at Precision Cast here, this is Monday afternoon, so obviously still a few days out from now, but probably our next somewhat decent chance for some moisture. I think most of this will stay really along and north here of Highway 2. Some may build back towards Harvey, down through Jamestown. For the most part, staying pretty light, but I think this is going to be about it as far as precip chances for the next 5 or 6 days. Hopefully this does verify once again, try to minimize some of those fire concerns that I suspect we'll see as we go into next week. 80s coming on in. We'll have 45 plus mile-an-hour winds Monday and Tuesday. So again, fire risk is going to increase here for us most likely as we go into Monday and beyond there of next week. Here's Williston's next 7, 60s for tomorrow, 70s building in beyond that. Maybe a few 80s here or there, as I was saying, and the winds Monday through Wednesday of next week as well. Looking at Dickinson's next several, tomorrow is the coolest day of your next 7, 70s and 80s beyond that, with an increase in the winds by early next week. Same deal for Minot, 60s for now, 70s and 80s to come, with the winds increasing there for Monday especially. And then Bismarck's next 7, 60s this weekend, 80s by Monday, 80s, 80s, 80s as well, Wednesday through Friday. Kiara.
Just hoping that wind can calm down a little bit next week. But thank you so much, Kenny. Coming up next on KX News, President Donald Trump says that the ceasefire is not over with Iran as fighting continues between the U.S. and Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. We'll have an update on peace talks next. But first, here's a look at your markets.
News, putting North Dakota first.
As the U.S. awaits a response from Iran on its peace proposal, the two sides have exchanged fire in the Strait of Hormuz. News Nation Washington correspondent Kristen Esco has the latest.
The hope is it's something that it can put us into a serious process of negotiation.
During his trip to Italy, Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed the U.S. is still waiting for a response from Iran to its peace proposal. A source tells News Nation the 14-point plan would end the war and create a framework for talks on Iran's nuclear program.
Well, it's more than a one-page offer. It's an offer that's basically said they will not have nuclear weapons.
President Trump insisted Thursday night that the ceasefire is not over, despite fighting between the U.S. and Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command says 2 more Iranian oil tankers were disabled Friday as they attempted to violate the American blockade of Iranian ports.
I'll let you know when there's no cease. You won't have to know.
We're not going to let our ships get sunk by the Iranians with their little, their drones that they're firing.
With commercial ships still stuck in the strait, Rubio argues countries around the world need to stop Iran from setting a troubling precedent.
We've seen the reporting overnight that Iran has established or trying to establish some agency that's going to control traffic in the straits. That would be very problematic. That would actually be unacceptable.
Secretary Rubio and other U.S. officials are pushing for the United Nations Security Council to pass a resolution compelling Iran to open the strait, arguing Iran is violating international law. Coming up next, it's another week for the Spring Friday Night Frenzy. After the break, the KX Sports team brings you the highlights and scores from all across the region.
Welcome to Friday Night Frenzy, your weekly roundup of regional high school sports with Jair Brooks Davis. Sponsored by ServPro, like it never even happened.
Welcome back to week 4 of the spring season of the Friday Night Frenzy. We'll begin the action in college baseball. The University of Mary Marauders look to keep their NSIC title hopes alive when they face the Winona State Warriors. Let's head over to Sioux Falls and check out the action. Michael Fargerland got the nod for the Marauders this afternoon. First batter is a swing and a miss for the strikeout. Next batter, it's the same result. And now he did allow a run in the top of the first, but the Marauders responded. The leadoff hitter, Callum Haney, was at the plate. The 1-2 pitch is driven in the air to deep right field. That's gone for a solo home run as UMary ties it up in the first. Later in the inning, runners on the corners for Hank Griffin. He shoots this into left field for an RBI single. Marauders take a 2-1 lead. The game was tied at 9 in the bottom of the 8th. 2 on for Luke Ree, who cranks his pitch to center field. That falls and brings in Kieran Gaffney. After an extra insurance run, the Marauders got the win 11-9 and advanced to face Minnesota State Mankato. That game just finished. The Marauders had a 1-run lead, but the Mavericks battled back and jumped in front. They never looked back and got the win. Minnesota State Vegas Augustana University tomorrow at noon with a chance to compete for the tournament championship, while UMary, they have been eliminated. High school girls soccer continued in the area. The St. Mary's Saints trying to gain a bit of ground in the conference standings. They hosted the Wilson Coyotes. Let's check out that action. Wilson came into tonight's game without a conference win this season. St. Mary's had a 1-0 lead. Stella Gallick finds Madeline Schneider in front of the net, and unguarded, she taps this in to give the Saints a 2-0 lead. The Saints kept pushing and fighting to add extra padding to their lead. Unfortunately, that was a handball right there. Now later on, after a penalty, Saints, they take a shot at the net just a little too high, and it hits the crossbar at the final buzzer. It was the Saints that walk away with the 2-0 victory. Let's head north on Highway 83 and check out the Minot North Golf Invitational. 16 teams from across Western Dakota competed at the Varden Golf Course. Lots of guys getting in on the action between sinking putts and hitting long drives. Let's take a look at which schools performed the best. The Minot Magicians finished first with 297 points. That's their 7th first place finish this year. In second place, the Bismarck St. Mary's Sabres had 309 points, the Saints that is. Third place belongs to Williston, who scored 314, and fourth place was the Mandan Braves, who ended the day with 315 points, and fifth place goes to the Minot North Sentinels, who finished with 320. Minot Magicians' Parker Argent finished as the medalist today as he shot a 68. Moving over to track and field, the Minot Invitational was at the Dwayne Carlson Stadium. A few of our local teams from the area made some noise for themselves just checking out the leaderboard. In the women's category, the Century Patriots finished first with a 190 score, surpassing the second place Minot Majettes, who finished with 188. The Minot North Sentinels finished third in the men's standings. The Minot North Sentinels dominated the day as they finished first with an overall score of 280, over 100 points in front of the second place Minot Magicians and the third place Wilson Coyotes. This week's Athlete of the Week is Bismarck Legacy's Cole Wicke. The junior pitcher was brilliant against Wilson when he threw a 10-strikeout no-hitter to cap off a doubleheader sweep for the Sabres. Wicke explained what his mindset was during the game against the Coyotes to cap off a memorable moment on the mound.
I picked it up in the second, and I just tried to stay away from everyone I could just so they didn't jinx it or anything. But yeah, it feels great just to close the door on a good team. I know Willie comes down, they play hard all the time. I got my defense behind me, and it's just good accomplishment all throughout.
That's the true mindset of a pitcher that is going for a no-hitter during the game. Now, in his following start against the Bismarck Demons, Wicke threw a complete game one hitter. Now, right now, the Sabres are in first place of the WDA with a conference record of 12-4, and that will do it for tonight with the Spring Friday Night Frenzy. We'll send it over into break.
He's the Oklahoma high school principal who's being hailed as a hero for stopping a gunman. Kirk Moore was shot in the leg as he tackled a gunman inside Pauls Valley High School last month. Surveillance video shows Moore pushing him onto a bench and holding him down while another staffer kicks the weapon away. The 20-year-old suspect is a former student. Officials say Moore's actions ensured no one else at the school was injured. In an exclusive interview, he tells CBS News' Matt Gutman what made him do it.
I don't know what I was thinking. I just knew I was just running to get to whatever was going on.
Was this a conscious thought, or do you think that this was instinct?
I think it was just instinct. You know, in 37 years, you go through trainings and drills and what you should do. That all goes out the window.
You can hear more from Principal Moore on Monday on CBS Mornings. Now let's take a last look at your forecast with Kenny.
Thanks, Kiara. Tomorrow's daytime highs back to the 60s we go into tomorrow afternoon. Some 50s may linger back towards the eastern tier of the state. 70s perhaps by Sunday, and definitely seeing some 70s and 80s beginning on Monday and really for most of next week. Going to give us those fire concerns, unfortunately, each and every day as we go through next week. That's going to do it for us here this evening. Thank you so much for watching us as always, and have a fantastic weekend. Be safe and enjoy your overall weekend overall. I'll see you next time. Have a great night.